Greetings, comrades. My name is DimAurora, and welcome back to From the Depths in the new year. I know it's been a very, very long time since I properly uploaded anything, but that is because I have done a ton of work in the background. I finally have my setup fully configured, so no more little activate windows in the bottom right corner, because that can piss off for a minute. But here we are with the new Generation 8. Now I've already put up a little outline here of what we're doing today, but the last How Dim Does It video, I said I was doing Gen 8, but what I was actually doing was RLI style, which is far more realistic, and okay, there's a few differences between RLI style and what I have currently. The major one being the bow. Now I know I've made like 3 videos on, or this will be the 3rd video on hull shaping, but I think it's good to go over what I need to do again. So right off the bat, we are given an outline. This will be an air defense ship of Generation 8, the Project 17. All of my ships are given a project number, depending on when they are built and what order they're built in. So this comes after the Project 16 destroyer and will be somewhat modeled after it. So right off the bat I need to start replacing, and while I'm doing this, it'll give a good oversight of what's going on. So this has a much sharper nose, a much sharper bow than most of my ships. It helps if I mirror. That's kind of a nice thing. So I'm going to start it off with 2s. Then this is pretty much just stuff that you guys have seen about 50,000 times, because, hey, everyone knows how to make a single line. But here's where it gets interesting. So I know that on this ship, my main armament is going to be, yes, look at all my nice new guns, 76mm dual-purpose cannons, and I want it to be one above the deck level. So it's going to be right here. This means that I actually need to put one block beneath it. Let's see, how far up is that? So that's 6 blocks down. So with this new information, we're going to go back here. I'm going to make a nice 6-block slope. Now this style is much more realistic than my previous styles, this new Gen 8. So I'm going to start it off with that. So it has a sharper bow that's not the prettiest thing in the world, but that's actually the style that I want. I'm going for a Cold War era destroyer. So now here's where it gets interesting. Now I want to be able to make this into a realistic, believable curve. So what I do is I take slopes and point their tip right to the end of this little wave breaker, whatever you would call that, whatever its actual term is. So I'm going to see just how this looks and keep modifying it if necessary. I want it to have a believable bow, so I'm going to actually start with 3s to give it more of a break, and then give it some 2s, or give it a 2 to come back towards where I want it, and there. Let's see. And the thing with this is I modify it so much as it's going that it'll likely never stay the same. As we can see here, I've decided to just, yeah, that looks better. So now I'm going to put single blocks on the back of these just so I can put down the next layer properly. So now we have the start of our bow. So I'm going to do a 3 meter here and then continue the pattern. So if we just quickly look at this, starting to look like an actual bow. So now we've gone, or now we're about to go down a level. So I'm going to take a 4 and do a 3 and continue this so that we start to get more of that realistic curve going on. Now we're going down a level, so I need to just do a or actually I need to quickly, continue the pattern of what I have to do. And then I'm going to bring this down 1. So actually right here I'm going to make this 2, so replace that with a beam. And then I guess I need to replace all these with a beam because now I've offset everything. So this will give us a much sharper bow, which is exactly what we want to make it look beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Now I can already see what I'm going to fix. How did I mess up that badly? How did I mess up that badly? There we go. So let's see. Already looking pretty good in my opinion, but I can see right here that this is going to drive me up the wall. So I'm actually going to knock off. Didn't mean to knock off that, but hey. Make this, yeah, I know I'm tearing up everything. That's just how I work. I'm a destroyer. So we're going to make this bow sharper than it was before. And give it more of a believable flare up here. So now I know I just need to put 1 meter blocks behind these guys. And then continue, nope, that is not. It's not the block that I desired. So this, we're going to change. Because we want the believable piece to be, let's see, if I make this one a 4, which I'm going to, this will give us a much more smooth and believable, that is a beam, not a small block. Alright. So now the flare comes out near the top and blends much better with the smoother hull, I believe. So now we're going back down here. Since I've already gotten a 4 beam here and a 4 beam here, we don't need these, but I'm going to continue this trend of 4 beam. That is an actual beam. Thank you, brain. Then a quick little jut outwards and back to what we wanted. So there is the beginning. trust me, it will look a little bit nicer in a minute. What? Dim, your builds look nice? No, they don't. I'm sorry to anyone who's watching this hoping for actual advice, because I am trash. Now that we see where we want this to go, I'm actually going to chop that one off and replace you with a square corner. That way we get a nice diagonal cut. And we're going to extend this diagonal cut back, of course, and extend this back. So now we're left with our nice new bow. That's what it looks like from the front. I think it looks quite nice. From the side, it looks a little bit janky, but that's about as good as you can get in From the Depths, because From the Depths itself is janky. And from the bottom, we get a view of that nice upwards curve that's going on. So that's how I start my Gen 8 ships. Now that's going to just sink for a minute. And we're going, yes, I have a lot of ships that I've done. So we're going to load up the Project 16. So here's the Project 16. Very similar bow style, except it has much more of a, I guess, it's a much taller hull than on the air defense ship. So it has more layers to deal with, more of that. But more importantly, it has a shear. Shear is achieved using a spin block, and it's actually 2 layers of alloy, because you have the layer that goes above that is attached to the spin block that makes it look all pretty, and the second layer below in case something happens to this spin block. Now, this does add quite a bit of material cost, of course, but in my opinion, it's quite worth it for that look. So, next up, we might do full hull shaping. As you can see, I've even gotten into more advanced techniques. My sterns are still ass. I think I'm funny, but I'm not. So that might be something to work on eventually, but for right now, they're not the worst thing in the world. Also next up, I might do superstructures. I've already done advanced cannons. That still hasn't changed much. I might show smaller versions than what I had before, like this 57 mil here. But really there's not much else to go with, because I really just wanted to catch up to what Gen 8 is now. Gen 8 is so much different than Gen 7. If I were to load in, actually I'll just load in the, yeah, its name, the most popular destroyer I've ever had on my channel. Yeah, this thing. So compared to Gen 8B, and especially the Aurora, which is pretty much the Gen 7 prototype, I'm not doing Gen 7 because thanks to the new fleet colors of Gen 8, they look ridiculous. So compared to previous destroyers, I've definitely changed things up a bit. But hopefully that looks alright, and hopefully people won't mind too much. Now with Gen 8, I am also going to be doing a series here soon. I might be doing some build videos of ships like this. I might actually finish the little air defense ship up in a build video, but I really want to know what you guys want. But anyways, that is all the time I have for this episode. I hope it helps a little bit. I hope it catches you guys up to what I've been doing. And I promise that Gen 8 will be making a very mass revival here soon. My channel will be making a very mass revival here soon. I'm off vacation. I have my setup going. We'll get back to things very soon. But anyways, as for now, DimAurora signing off.